Welcome to Whirlwind. We don't know where we're gonna wind up.
That'll be in the After Dark version.
Should I say it on camera?
Give me your scalpel. I'll just say it.
I'm trying to do it without it sounding gross. Dude. Welcome
You've
back
been
to
gone
Whirlwind.
so long.
Has it
Where have
been
you
3 weeks? It'll be
been?
4 weeks by the time.
Oh my
Wow, it'll be a
gosh.
month by the time we put it out, I think.
Okay, life update. Look,
Oh,
look behind you.
I moved. I know. My background is different. I got my own place. I have 3 roommates and they're all really cool. So,
I love
and
your background. Like
me
your
too. It's
background is so
very
pretty.
cozy. Fiona's over there.
And your little palette in the back. I
Mhm.
love it. I I feel like you need to talk about your journey because that's a story. I really want to
Did
hear
I?
this
I
again.
can't remember. Did I talk about that on the last episode?
Oh,
Okay,
so
so,
what happened in between Raleigh and Phoenix,
ooh,
Arizona?
a
Or
lot.
Gilbert?
Yeah. So for the first leg of the trip, it was great. I stayed the first night in Nashville, Tennessee. Didn't really see anything of it because I was with my cat, but the hotel that I was staying at was supposed to be in a nice area. I looked everything up online, looked up reviews because I'm a girl traveling alone. I was like, I don't want to get snatched. So I get out in the morning to go pack my car up and leave. And I'm putting Fiona, my cat, in the passenger side. And I noticed like wedged in my tire in the wheel well is like a plastic cup. And I was like, that's weird that somebody would just throw their cup away, but like put it in my, like it was wedged in there because I pulled it out. And so what I did is I got in my car, like locked the door. I was kind of like, I don't, that just doesn't feel right to me, but I don't know why. So I looked it up, and apparently it is a tactic for people to either steal your car or steal you. Because if you're driving away and you hear something on that side of your car, because it'll stay while the tire goes, but it'll just make a noise, then you'll get out, go to the other side, and check it, leaving your car running, and then they'll either get in your car and steal it or they can steal you. So, because I totally dismissed it as like, oh, it totally could have been nothing. But then again, why would someone wedge a cup in my wheel well? I don't, it's a weird thing to do.
It is a weird thing to do, but it's like so unmistakable that someone put that in there. Like some
Yeah, like
it didn't just fall in.
it wasn't a chance. Like as I tried, I was like, oh, it was probably just a chance. And I was like, no, someone like intentionally did that. I was nervous, I think, to drive all the way to Arizona because it's like 32 hours or something. And the car that I was in, it used to be my dad's and he gave it to me. So it had a lot of miles because he had used it as a like a work car and he would take a lot of work trips. So it was approaching 300,000 miles, and I was set to hit 300,000 miles on this trip. And I had all of my belongings in it, so it was weighed down. I was like, I hope this thing makes it. But honestly, I was like, it's a good car. Like, it'll make it. It'll be fine. So I get across the line in New Mexico, and probably the worst place to break down in, I will say. But I'm on the highway. And suddenly I'm just listening to my audiobook, cruising along, and suddenly I'm like, I'm slowing down. Why am I slowing down? I'm pressing the gas pedal. Nothing is happening. I'm still slowing down. So I
Ugh.
get, and I'm on, I think I was on 40 at this point. So I get on the side of the road. I stop and I'm like, okay, I'm going to restart my car and everything's going to be fine. It's going to be, it'll just, it was a fluke. I
Yeah.
had like a little under a quarter tank of gas. I was literally had the gas station up in my maps. It was my next stop, and I was probably 3 miles away. But I had been so careful the whole time to not even let myself get under a quarter of a gas tank. And I turn off my car and I start it. Nothing happens. Like it tries to start for a second and then it won't.
Mm,
And so I was like, I had that like sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, I'm on the side of the road in New Mexico. What am I gonna do?
oh
So
my
I call a
gosh.
tow truck, and as I'm waiting for the tow truck, I'm trying to find somewhere to take my car. So I'm calling all these mechanics and nowhere will take it because nobody works on Toyotas. They only work on Fords or Chevys. It's like some weird thing. I don't know. Literally all of them were saying the same thing. Like, oh, I don't work on that type of car because it's a little town called Tucumcari. And I
What? I
mean,
I don't get that at all.
it's crazy. Finally, I get this guy, like I find this place and no one's there. But I wait until the end of the call, until the end of the voicemail thing, and it's like, in the case of an emergency, call this number. And I was like, a
I'm an
lifeline.
emergency.
I am an emergency. So I call, and this guy picks up. He's in Wyoming. He is not even Wyoming or Wisconsin, I can't remember, but he is not even there. But he's like, actually, like I can't remember. I think it was his nephew or some relative. He's like, well, they're in the area, so we're moving all of our stock, so we don't even have all of the tools at the shop yet. But like, go to this address. It wasn't the one online. Like, go to this address in Tucumcari, and he'll like diagnose it for you, and we'll figure it
He
out.
will took your car.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Nice.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So we go. But then me and Bobby, shout out to Bobby, fantastic tow truck driver. He was so sweet. He was so helpful. He stayed with me because we show up and no one's there. And he like waited until somebody was about to show up, which was just so sweet, even though I'm sure he had a thousand things to do. So we get to the mechanic shop and it's not a mechanic. It is a broken down gas station with a bunch of broken cars. There's a no trespassing sign. The windows are like cracked and taped up, bars on the doors, and everything in this town is either barred off or just not open or like vacant, empty. I saw maybe five people the entire time that I was in this town. I cannot stress to you enough how few people there were. So
That's terrifying. So were you a little bit jarred, or were you just so in shock that it didn't move you at all?
I was like head down. I think I remember constantly thinking about the absurdity of my situation, but knowing that I didn't have the time to like fully appreciate it.
There's
And I
no
was,
time to panic.
yeah, I was not, I was in fight mode. I was like, I'm gonna make it out of this. Like, I got this. So, so one guy with a code reader shows up. That is it. And I think his aunt and her husband or something like driving the car. Uh, so he does, the code reader on my car, and he's like, okay, so you have two failed fuel pumps. So apparently, like Lexus, it was an old Lexus. It has like two fuel pumps or something. I still don't know what exactly, because it's not like two separate fuel pumps. It's just two parts of one whole. So he was like, "That's the problem." Like first, he asked if I had gas in my car, because apparently a ton of people just ran out of gas, specifically women. And then we're like, "I don't know why my car just shut off," and they just didn't have gas. And I was like, "Yes, there's gas in my car."
Yeah,
Like I was
yeah.
at a quarter tank. And so apparently I have a failed fuel pump, and he said the first code it's throwing at me is a failed fuel pump. And I was thinking in my head, I was like, the first code? Is there more? So I'm convinced to this day that this car just died. Like, because it had to be more, because I mean, I guess the battery was drained, but it wasn't running and it would not like even unlock. The windows wouldn't roll down. Like I couldn't get any power to this thing. So the battery was completely drained, like so quick when I wasn't even doing anything. Like I had it off most of the time. So yeah, he tells me that they can't get the part in until Monday, which was 2 days away, and I have hotels booked or a hotel booked in Albuquerque, and I'm supposed to get, I think it's Friday at this, yeah, I think it was Friday. And I was like, I can't stay in this town for like 2, 3 days waiting. And then he tells me that it's going to be $2,700. And I was like, this car is not worth that.
You started
This car
sprinting
is not.
away from the building. Like,
So
I don't
I
need that.
know that that was probably an over quoted price. Totally.
You were probably
But
their only customer in weeks. They were like, "Yep,
that's not,
the fuel pumps, they're both of them."
no, this is a thing. did this to multiple people. So it's not like they necessarily took advantage of me because it worked out for me in a really difficult situation, but people broke down there all the time and sold their cars because it was the only option that they had. Like
Uh,
there was
uh.
multiple times of this happening, and that dude tried to, I had to get his number to like tell him about the U-Haul or something because he had to take me to the U-Haul place because I got a U-Haul. More on that later. But like he tried to keep talking to me after this whole, and at one point even apologized that I had to sell my car for so low. So I think it was definitely a little bit scammy.
That
They're
he's like the
definitely taking
worst
advantage
scam
of
artist
people.
ever. Like he scams you and then he's like, I'm really
He's
sorry.
like, I'm sorry, I'll get you dinner. He didn't say that, but that was the
Same
vibe.
vibe.
Um, she was, and everybody was very nice, but long story short, they tell me all that, and I'm like, okay, do you purchase vehicles? Like, I was the one to bring it up, and they were like, for dirt cheap. And I was like, well, how cheap is dirt? Because I
Hmm.
need to know. So I sold my car for 200 bucks.
I
I
think
tried to talk them up because the rims were probably worth more than that, but
that's a deal.
it didn't happen. And then I got a U-Haul and I made it to my hotel.
So
So
wait, so to get the timeline, you broke down at what time of day?
I broke down probably at 2,
Okay. And this is
1
like,
to 2 p.m. and I got to the hotel at 8.
okay. So it wasn't too long before you got to the hotel, but it's still probably
No,
like
but I
dark
was,
out, right?
oh, it was dark. Yeah. And I had to go to there was no lock on the U-Haul and I have my computer, my instruments, everything I own in the back of this U-Haul. So I had to go and get a lock at Home Depot before I even got to the hotel. And the one Home Depot that I choose to go to has cops lined up outside with their lights on. And I'm like, I have to go anyway. Like, at least there's cops here if something happens. I still don't know what was going on, but they were like stationed at the checkouts. Like, so I got my lock
Wait, stationed
and I
at
went
the
to the hotel.
checkouts?
Yeah, they were just standing around. Like, I asked one of the employees was talking to a cop, and I was like, hey, I need a lock for you all? Like, where can I find it?
Hi, officer. Can I get a
Hi,
lock?
officer.
No, I just want to say I admire you and I also feared for you by
I
the
know.
hour. Like
Thank you for admiring me, but I knew that you were scared and it was a comfort knowing that people were worried about me. So,
my mom would come up like every so often and be like, have you heard from her?"
oh, that's so sweet. I didn't know that.
I'd be like
That's so
I'd be like,
nice.
yeah, she's probably fine. And then the more I think about it, I'd be like, I need to check up on her and to make sure she's okay.
Yeah. No, I really appreciated you checking up on
No,
me. It made me feel a lot better.
I actually pretty sure I still have your voicemail that you
Oh
left
no, we
me.
don't need to.
We can edit it out, but I really didn't even think about this till now.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, hold
But yeah,
on.
everybody was checking up on me and like my brother-in-law helped me get the U-Haul for rent because they had a cutoff time and he called to reserve it and then they were about to not give it to me, but I started crying and the guy who had towed me was there at that same U-Haul stop because there's only one store in town, obviously. And so I still got the U-Haul, but I didn't mean to start crying. I was like genuinely overwhelmed. I was like,
Wait,
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
wait, back up. So you started crying.
Yeah, or I was about to cry. I was like on the verge, and she was like, "Oh, well, don't cry." Like it's this lady, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't want to, but like, this is my last option. I don't want to get a hotel here. I need to go. Like, I just sold my car for $200. I'm stressed out. My cat is here. Like, I don't know what's happening.
If someone
I
told
had
me
done
to stop
so well up
crying,
to that time.
I would start
Oh,
bawling in front of them.
well, she was like, "Okay, well, don't cry," and I'm like 5 minutes past the cutoff time. Like, this is not. I was just like, please give me this U-Haul.
I need this so
I need
much.
this U-Haul.
You don't know how
But I got it and I ordered myself like Mexican food through DoorDash and my poor cat she was like crazy that night. She would not stop meowing. I barely got sleep, but I was like,
I
I'm just glad
how
we're
did you
safe.
travel with a cat for 35 hours with a litter box? That's
She
insane.
did she did very well.
I
I will
mean,
say she was
she is a
very
lady.
hyperactive at night, but she did very well. And I lost my patience with her multiple times, so I feel bad, but she did really good, honestly, overall. And she was
Oh my
quiet in the
gosh.
car, and I was, mostly I was just worried about her comfort, but she did a good job.
Well, it's just like disgusting to have a litter box in your car and to smell when she goes to the bathroom. Is that like
Oh,
what's
well,
happening?
I did like the disposable ones that you can just throw away. So you
Well,
don't have
yeah,
to
but
have like a
I mean,
dirty litter
like
box.
she's still like
She didn't use the
pooing.
litter box in the car.
Oh, she didn't?
No, cats can hold it for a long time. I let her, like, I gave her the option. I would let her out at stops and stuff, but she didn't until we got to the hotel.
I need to tell Arthur that
Yeah,
because he acts like he can't hold it.
really?
Yeah, no, he once because I will close my door for like work meetings and he'll scratch on the door to let me know that he needs to go to the bathroom. One time I didn't do it in a timely manner and he just pooed in front of the door. She's like,
Oh
I'm
my
not waiting.
gosh.
I'm not waiting. And then just walked away. I opened the door.
No way.
Like, thanks
That's
so much.
crazy.
But yeah,
I'm so glad Fiona doesn't do that.
I know. So this
Did you
was
find the voicemail?
I'm gonna find it because I do have it saved. Anyway, back to Arkansas. Let's
Oh,
dive
yeah,
back in
Arkansas.
Arkansas. I'll find that later because it was just hilarious. You're like on the way back to your hotel in the U-Haul and your voice is like up here and you're like,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
"Hey,
yeah.
hi. I just wanted to let you know I'm doing great. I'm in a U-Haul. I just sold my car for $200. I'm on the way to the hotel. Got a lock. I'm doing great. Anyway, okay, bye." I
I
was like,
think it was a very pivotal moment for me because I learned how much I internalize my stress. Because the second that I was in the U-Haul driving to the hotel, my lips swelled up so much.
yo,
And then, like, literally for like 3 days, I had a scab from how much they swelled and a bruise. Like, it was purple all under.
dude.
I have pictures. And then when I woke up the next morning, my legs were bruised on each side because that's what happens when I go through something stressful. I literally internalize it so much that my body reacts. So it was a good moment because I was like, okay, I now know how I handle things and I need to just let my emotions out a little more in the moment and I'll be better.
I had no idea that you had that, your lips swell up on the way
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That's
And then
insane.
one of the first people that I like met and they were like, "Oh, let's be friends. Let's be coffee, get coffee." They tried to get me to join a pyramid scheme and right after I got out of that situation, I felt so uncomfortable because I felt guilty for like suspecting that that's what they were doing. It was totally what they were doing. It was Amway. Amway is like a known, it's like a tree. No. So the second that I got out of that situation and was like walking home like alone, my lips swelled up because I had been stressed. It
That's
is the
so
weirdest
weird.
thing.
That is so
So,
weird. So you made it to the hotel, you got a restless night's sleep, and then you were back at it. Like the next
mhm.
thing I know, you're back on the road. Also,
And I,
to preface, I had the flu, I'm pretty sure. Like the night before you left, we partied hard. And then,
oh yeah, I had the flu.
yeah,
I forgot that I had the
yeah.
flu.
I'm not sure if I gave it to you. I'm pretty sure I gave it to you. And I'm
Or I
so
gave
sorry
it
about
to
that.
you and it was like dormant or something, but
Well, I mean, we could have infected each other that night.
oh right, no, your dad had it.
Yes. And then it was
That
like
was
getting
it.
passed
And
around.
then we both got it like at the
Oh.
same time.
So you started your road trip sick.
Yes, yeah, I was sick on the day that I left and I was sick the entire time. And then I think I got better for like a day and I got sick again with something else because my immune system was shot, dude.
But you had some juicy lips.
Dry, purple, scaly. Oh yeah.
Well, when you put it like that.
Yeah.
Little town of Gilbert. I should probably bleep that out, right? Do you care? Do you care if people know where you're from?
No, I don't care. It's on my Spotify, so
Oh, yeah, you're right. If your adoring fans want to come find you.
my two fans. Actually, I have 20 followers, so that's 20 people that
That's
care
really
about
cool.
me,
That's
mostly
really
friends and
cool.
family.
20 people care about me. No, okay. this is like a tangent, but curious to know. So you know Chappell Roan, the
Yeah.
the very controversial singer. It's not that controversial, but she is speaking out against harassing harassing fans, like fans coming up to her and touching her without consent, or just being weirdos in general.
Hmm.
And people do not like her for this. Some people. Other people agree with her and say that this is a system of pop culture that has been brewing for a while and should be pushed back against. And other people think she's ungrateful. Where do you land?
Where I land is her job is to make music, and she only has that job because people like that music. That's true. But the thing that she is selling to people is the music, not herself. So people that are like, oh, she's just ungrateful, like this is what you sign up for when you become a celebrity. A lot of people don't sign up to be celebrities. The thing that they're doing gets popular and they it's like a give and take thing where like if they do something heinous, they're not going to have fans anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
that's fine. Or if they stop producing music, they're not going to have as much of a following anymore, and that's fine. But you can't say like, "Oh, I'm entitled to touch you without your consent and to be creepy because you've put yourself in the public eye or because you make music." That's like idolizing somebody and dehumanizing them to an alarming extent.
Yeah, yeah. I like the way you put that because every time I hear people say that she's being ungrateful, I it's just so unfair. Like I've noticed that people on the internet get meaner and meaner and meaner and more entitled and more entitled and more entitled. And the more she speaks out about it, I'm not a fan of her music or her. But the more she speaks out about it, I'm like, good.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
someone needs to say it. And I'm really shocked that she's one of the people to say it. I mean, I know that some artists have talked about it a little bit, but definitely not to the extent that she has, where she's saying, "Don't touch me" in public, which is
Hmm.
such a weird thing to do. Like if you saw like your favorite artist on the street, our
I would
first thought,
never,
like a first
like,
thought to touch them, that's
I would
freaky.
not do that. Yeah. And
It,
especially, it's probably men, a lot of it.
ew.
And some of it, yeah, probably just girls that are overexcited and, oh, it's my favorite. But there's a difference. I think that argument usually comes up with in regards to like paparazzi taking pictures of people in public.
Yeah, because
And that's also something that I'm like, that is a violation of
it
privacy.
is.
And I think it's been a lot of people that have complained about it in the past, like celebrities, are celebrities that have set up PR stunts for themselves and then been like, I'm entitled to privacy. So that's a little bit different because you're actually adding fuel to the fire and then complaining about the fire.
That is really true. Because as
It's,
I've
yeah.
seen some of like the Hollywood fix cams, and it's just a guy going around harassing people with a camera and like
Hmm.
asking them the most personal questions you can imagine. And
Right.
then the celebrities will get upset and they're like, look at how awful they are. And they'll completely cut out the questions being asked.
It's so silly.
It is silly. It is so silly. But yeah, just
I
thinking
think
about
it's,
artists' private life. Does it exist?
yeah, I think it's more an overarching problem with our society because the way that we view celebrities is like gods. And we just idolize them to this extent where we want to know everything about their life, sometimes in like a passive consumatory sort of way where we want to know it's drama, it's gossip, it's entertaining. That's a lot of it, but sometimes it's people want to know everything so they can emulate that in their own lives.
Ew.
And that's just messed up.
That is messed up.
Is this that's the second that I like started when I put my first song on Spotify, which it's not very good. I did everything myself, so like the production is like it's not super professional, super whatever, but I was able to put it on the internet for everybody. And
Yeah.
that moment, I was like, "Oh, people just do this." Like yes, there's a lot more that goes into it for artists that have the money to like get somebody to produce it or they've been doing it for a while, so they're amazing, songwriters, artists. Of course, there's different layers to it, but it just had like I had this moment of like even Laura Marling, obsessed with her, love her. She's amazing. And I had always known like, oh, she's just a person. I had never really idolized her, but it was this very humanizing moment for me where I was like, oh, they're just people putting their music online too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this
And
is the most accessible age for people who want to be musicians. They
yeah,
don't need to go to a record label. They don't need to be doing all this
mm-mm.
stuff. You just get the equipment and you decide, I want to create something, and then you create it, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah, but even when they did, like they were just people that got scouted. They were just
Yeah,
people that went to a record label, and actors and celebrities are just people who went to an audition one day.
that's really
Like
true.
every single person that is in the public eye is just a regular person.
That's really
And
true.
we've completely lost sight of that in our society. And we are so obsessed with like picking other people's flaws and like getting these microscopic details into their life to be like, oh, who was wrong in this breakup? Or like, what's going on in this relationship? That we forget that we're also human and it just takes the focus completely off of our own lives and like what we're responsible for.
Yeah, I don't like veering into this example, but I blame Taylor Swift partly because, hear me out.
We're gonna get canceled before we even make it.
Listen, I like some of Taylor Swift's music. I think she's an incredible businesswoman. I think she's very smart, and I think she makes calculated moves. I believe that she's learned the art of monetizing her life. Her relationships are monetized in a way because they are put into her music and
Mhm.
they do bring engagement into her creative process because it's not just listening to a song anymore, it's listening to gossip. And
Yep.
that is very attractive to a lot of people. Not saying anything about that morally, but I will say that it's paved the way and has made a precedent for other artists to do the exact same thing. And they've seen it work.
Yeah. Like
And
Ariana Grande too.
mhm, yep, and hers went real backwards.
Yep.
Did not go
Because
her
I
way at
think
all.
Taylor Swift does it well. It's tasteful.
It's tasteful monetization.
Yeah, it is. And then I think sometimes when other people try to do the same thing, it goes sideways.
Well, I don't even know the beginnings of that. I don't even know the Ariana Grande lore. I just know that all of a sudden her personal business was being aired out on social
Air
media.
out. Oh,
Like, no, thank you. I think I might just remove myself from the social eye
yeah.
completely and stop started coming out
Whew.
of like me like that.
Right? I would just disappear. But again, it's like some people, especially like celebrities, I think they get addicted to being relevant because
Okay,
who wouldn't? I mean, that's probably if you're focused on that and if that's what you're trying to attain, that is probably such an addicting thing to have the entire Western world talking about you.
so that brings us to a little segment I like to call Should Rachel Delete Her Social Media Account? Because you literally hit on the exact thing I was thinking about this week. Every single time I go on Instagram, and it's Instagram specifically. I don't have this issue on Facebook, although Facebook is probably arguably worse. I will go to the Explore page, and the Explore page always feeds me pop culture news because
Mm,
I engage with pop culture news. I hate to admit that,
yeah.
but I do. And so it keeps feeding me that kind of content. And I always go in the comments because I'm a little ding dong. And it's always people just being awful. Like someone will
Yep.
post something about someone, and then you go to the comments, and it's like, well, you could stand to lose a few pounds. Like it's rage bait,
Yes.
100%.
I see stuff like that too, and I don't want to.
I know, and every single time it upsets me and I fall for it and I don't do anything with it other than just feel really stressed out about it. And it's every time I go on social media, like I'm not gonna see that when I go on there. So I'm wondering, I'm asking myself, what is the upside and what is the downside to having an Instagram account? Because a part of me just wants to hop off the grid, dude.
I
Do I
think that
sound
you should at
stupid?
least deactivate it.
Yeah. And because you said that and you said you have 30 days to grab it back if you want to.
Well, even if you delete it, you have 30 days, but like deactivation is just you'll disappear for a while. And
With that, with deactivation, does it hide my account and then not allow me to be on my Instagram account? Or, oh, that's not a
so you
bad
might want to do
idea.
that for a while, just test it out, see how you feel. And then if you do, you can delete it. Like
That's a good
this is
idea.
coming from, I deleted my Instagram, and a lot of people have like followed me again because I made a new account and been like, oh my God, I thought you blocked me. So there is that, like, I feel bad because I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't want anybody to think that I blocked them. Like, that makes me
I
so
know.
sad. But again, it's like, I can't control what people think of me. So that was a good
Yeah,
release of that. But if I did not need Instagram for my art and my music, I would not have it
I
at all.
know.
And because I desperately want to delete it as well. And it's because I genuinely struggle with self-control with social media. And I'm
I,
able to admit that because
but
it's
I
something that
think everyone does now, and that's
I
what
think so
freaks me
too.
out because we were kind of the first generation to really start to be raised online.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, my older brother, Jared, like he was definitely on the internet when he was younger, but I think like we were kind of the first ones to have like it all the time. We had access,
Constantly,
yeah, constant
all the
access.
time.
And it freaks me out a little bit when I think about it. And I don't know why it's bothering me now as opposed to then. Maybe it's just because my brain is getting thicker, aka growing up. Brain's getting thick. Um, but I was, watching like a Drew YouTube video and he does like those little like social experiments and he was talking about, when you're at the end of the life, at the end of our life, are we just going to look back and go, why did we waste so much time on social media? And I don't know why, but that really clicked with me and I was like, yeah, like am I
Yeah.
going to have that thought? That's terrifying because I'm already worried about wasting time. I'm already someone who feels like I have to do stuff constantly. And I am, but in between the moments, I'm just on social media. So if I block that out, could I just be at peace for like 5 minutes, Or
Hmm.
could I be more, I hate saying that, could I be more present in life? Like, yeah, duh, obviously.
Like, yeah, I was so much more present when I deleted it. And I think because I have to have it, my solution right now is like I put a time limit on it because the amount of time that I just would zone out and then realize I've been on my phone for a half hour just watching, for me, my Explore page, like the reels. It's just like segments of TV shows, like sitcoms, because apparently that's what I gravitate towards. Because I don't watch much TV,
Oh
but
my
I
gosh.
like, I guess just the short form, I'm just like, but again, it's like little segments of like drama that you get embroiled into. So it's so stupid.
Your
But
reels tell a lot about a person. The
they
fact that it's
do. And I
sitcoms
guess
is
I
so
just like
funny.
stories. Like that's my thing, and you too, because it's the same thing with
Yeah.
celebrity drama. It's stories. But I and there's some things on there that I like I'm able to connect with other musicians. I'm able to there's so much good
Yes.
to it. I just need to get better at setting boundaries because I do need it. And for me, it's like I think for you it's great because you have this time to delete it and then you might not ever need it.
Yeah.
But if you do ever need it, you'll be in a better place to set boundaries because you'll have that comparison like I do of like my life was so good without this thing.
Yeah. No, because when you were saying that you need it for music and art, you do because you have to, that's your marketing. That's
Yeah.
how you get your stuff out into the world.
Hmm.
And you were saying I might never need it. And that's something that I wonder about because social media has become so like ubiquitous. Ooh, that was a big word, ubiquitous.
I
with
love
like
that.
marketing and starting a business
Hmm.
and all these things. And I'm like, at some point, I'm probably going to have it
It's
for
true.
business.
I I think that you will at some point. You just don't know
Yeah,
what exactly specifically it'll be for
yeah,
yet. But again, like taking the time that you have to step away from it, that especially while it doesn't really add anything to your life, I think that's a good decision.
that's true. That's really true. So I was
I don't
also,
regret deleting my old account, even though I'm like, oh, I wish that that person and I, still followed each other. But it's like everybody that I pops into my head that I'm like, oh, I should have followed them. I just follow them, and it's fine. And if they don't follow me back, whatever. I just
okay,
it's like people, it's just who you choose to reconnect with, and that makes it really special. And then I'll be like, oh my gosh, this person followed me. Like, I didn't even think to follow them. And it's so like we chat and we're like, oh my gosh, like I miss you. It's great.
okay, that's like really calming for you to say that.
Hmm.
That's one of my biggest fears is that these people that I used to know, and if I just
Hmm.
delete my account, I'm never going to talk to them again. That's my biggest fear. And
Yeah.
some of them it wouldn't matter, but some of them it kind of would matter to me. Like there's some people that I still follow from high school that I love seeing how their life is going. And like I'm rooting them on. So if I got rid of my account, like I don't have their personal phone number. I'm not gonna text them. Like that's we're not on that same level. Um, but knowing that I can just create a new account, follow the people that I actually care to follow, instead
Hmm.
of continuing these relationships, like some relationships that I really want to have on social media and some not. Because I went through like a purge at one point of like unfollowing people that I'd followed in the past that I really wasn't
Hmm.
friends with. Like
Yeah.
I went through because when I first got Instagram, I was just like, I'm gonna follow everybody. Like I'm just so
Yeah.
excited. And now I'm
Hmm.
like,
And I did that too, but then I felt guilty for unfollowing them.
I know. That's what I did too. I like was like halfway down the list and I was like, I feel bad. And so I stopped.
I know, right? I do the same exact thing. So that was like why it was nice to just take everybody off.
Yeah, I'm just I don't know, it sounds so nice starting fresh. I'm like, I don't know. Because I'm working on trying not to, like you were saying, compartmentalize past events. But there is something so tempting about deleting every post from the past. It's like I never even existed, you know?
Well, and I think that's a perfectly normal thing. I don't think that's compartmentalizing. I think that's we didn't have an archive of our entire lives in the public eye until very recently.
Yeah, it makes me
And
uncomfortable.
yeah, and you changing who you are, this is an important thing. You changing who you are isn't a betrayal of your past self. It's a
Yeah,
tribute to who you want to be.
bars.
So, mic drop. If you So if you delete your old posts, that just means that you don't like them anymore. That doesn't mean that you're abandoning who you were. That doesn't mean it's not like bad to anybody, It's just you're a different person because you've grown and matured, and that's normal.
I appreciate you saying that because there I have had the active thought of having posts with people that I no longer associate with, and it was a point of pride that I not delete them because I'm like, that's a part of me, that's my past. But the more I think about it, the more it bothers me. And at one point I was like, okay, I can have a past and be okay with it, but also like remove it. Like it's not me
Mhm.
anymore. Like it was me
Yeah, and that's
and
fine.
went
It doesn't mean you
away.
hate those people now.
Yeah,
It's just that's the thing about social media is it gets so
clicky.
catty. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was trying to get different word. But yeah, it just gets catty and people get offended over little things. And then half of my time on it used to be just worried about what other people would think of me or what they would be offended by or would I do the wrong
Yeah,
thing or say the wrong thing or post the
for
wrong
real.
thing. And now I'm setting out to only use it for business.
Yeah. Because you're a
And then just
businesswoman.
eventually I'll probably just unfollow everybody personal.
Yeah,
Even though I like seeing what people are doing, but
I
also
know.
I want to just put my art and my stuff online, not go on the explore page at all, not watch reels, literally not do any of that
Yeah.
mind-numbing bull crap and just put my stuff up there and do it to promote my art because that's what I love to do.
Want a dopamine
What is that
fast.
Walden quote? I'm gonna read that on camera because that was actually
Please
in the
do.
last Louise Penny. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discovered that I had not lived.
Oh, that's depressing.
No, it's not depressing. That's okay. That's a
That
quote
when
from
I
Walden
died,
by
I
Thoreau.
knew that I'd not lived.
When I came to die, and not when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. That's exactly what you were talking about.
It was.
What Drew Gooden said,
Yep.
like getting to your deathbed and being like, did I waste all of my time? That is exactly why Thoreau went to live in the woods for a year, built his own cabin. Dude, he, I'm gonna have some words about
Going into
Thoreau.
sicko mode.
Pompous, so full of himself. Oh
Walden?
my gosh. Walden?
What, Pompous? Walden?
What do you mean? What?
Who are you calling Pompous?
Thoreau.
Oh, oh, whoa. We moved.
Thoreau wrote Walden.
Oh. I knew that. I knew that. I totally knew that.
Well, I'm reading A Week right now, which is it like details his journey down the Concord and Merrimack rivers, and he basically like wrote I think it starts at Friday. It's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, etc. But he's so full of himself, and he really thinks that everybody needs to know what he has to say, right? Whatever. But he does have some good things, but especially in those books, he just drones on and on and on about stuff, and I'm like, shut up. Shut up because I started with Walden and I shouldn't have done that because that book is fantastic. I would so recommend that book to anybody.
And it reminds me of someone, Jordan Peterson. I feel like he falls in that exact
Mm,
same camp because he is very much a truth seeker, but only in knowledge. And
yeah.
that only gets you so far. Because
I
he
think
excludes God
he
from, he doesn't exclude God, but he does not explore God's realm. He explores
and
Earth's realm.
I think he's done a lot of good for people even through that because people who would have been put off by Christianity still watched his videos and there's so many like threads of Christianity in his stuff. And he used to say this thing like he doesn't believe in God, but he acts as if God exists in
Hmm.
case he does. And I think since then he's changed his tune.
I hope so. I
I
hope
believe
so.
so. I think
Yeah.
I remember watching something where there was something he said, and I was like, oh,
Hold
I
up.
think he actually, yeah. So I hope that he has, but I completely agree with you,
Yeah.
at
Because,
least from what I used to.
no,
Yeah.
because I think he is a very, I think he's a genius in a lot of
Oh
ways.
my goodness. He's wonderful.
But I think that he has very good core beliefs and principles, and those will carry someone very far, but it can only carry them so far until they're going to
Hmm.
start needing something more internally or introspectively or whatever. So I think maybe he's really good for getting people on a journey or on a path towards a better lifestyle and better thought patterns. But at
Hmm.
some point, you're gonna have to make your own thoughts, dude. Like
Yeah.
that bothers me with some people where they take all their thought patterns from people that they hear on podcasts or YouTube videos and they just make that their lifestyle. And I'm like, okay, you can mockingbird this stuff back to people,
Yeah.
and that's good when you're in high school. But
Yeah. And you can do the routine, you can
yeah,
do you can live the life, but
yeah.
if you don't
And you're not,
form some core beliefs and take
yeah.
something seriously that isn't on Earth, you're just going to be parroting other people for the rest of your life.
And I think it bothers me because there's people that genuinely have such um a unique part of themselves that they just refuse to invest in
Hmm.
and refuse to work on to bring out. And instead, they just continue feeding themselves with other people's thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
And
No, I agree.
it's just, it feels like a waste because I'm like, okay, you're way more than these people are. Like, you,
And
yeah, bugs me.
some people do that with like just people they've known in real life too. Like some people that I've met are a collection of everyone they've ever known, and that's it.
That's a good way to put that.
They've never formed thoughts for themselves. They've just taken bits and pieces that they like from other people, and it's totally normal for people to influence you.
Yeah.
But again, you will never be anything original if you don't dig down deep within yourself. And this isn't like a, oh, find yourself thing. This is everyone has things that make them unique.
Mm.
And then what we're supposed to do with that is refine it and polish it with the eternal, with a
Yes.
perspective that is
Mm.
on God versus
Reach.
something on earth. Because all we're going to do if we focus on something on earth and idolize celebrities, idolize other people in our life, or idolize a partner, all we're going to do is like muddle our own
Yeah.
uniqueness.
I'm gonna write
But if
down polishing ourselves with eternity because that's a line. That is such a good line.
should be a song, I need to write that
It
down.
should write that down. Put that in a song. No, because I was doing research this week and I was trying to look up the etymology of artist because you Google search artist and it says like an occupation of a painter or a sculptor or whatever, and I was like, that's a silly, stupid definition.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
I went to the etymology of artist, and it dates back to like 17th century. It's a French word, and
Hmm.
America adopted it in like the 1800s, and we changed it a little bit, but they defined it as one who makes an art of his employment. And that totally reminded me of you. Because there's a little bit of like, what does that
I
mean to
love
make?
that.
I know.
Je ne sais quoi, you know?
Yeah, because I read that and I was like, I feel like Lydia would love that because it's you don't really know what it means, but at the same time you know exactly what it means. And I love stuff
So
like
it's
that.
artist, it's one who makes an art of his profession.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is one skillful in some art not considered one of the fine arts, which I like that distinction. And then it says one who makes an art of his employment, his or her employment, as we're not discriminating.
I I think that's fantastic
I
because
know.
you have always struck me as an artist.
I appreciate that a lot. Feels like
And
a cry.
genuinely, like you make art out of your life, like out of your space. You curate your playlists. You're the person at like gatherings that you're always playing the music and you're like finding the exact thing to fit the mood and to fit the scene and to really tie everything together.
Dude, I should have been a DJ. I should have got a little DJ set.
You can still do wicka wicka.
I would just be turning knobs and cranking stuff in the back.
You would be going around and everybody would be like, "Do you like this?"
I
But
would.
seriously, you have always been that person that's like in the background of everything that is just making the ambiance like perfect and just tying the whole thing together. And I know that like once you're in law school and once you get into that profession that you are really going to make it something so much more human than it
Uh,
usually is because that's what you do with things.
that means a lot. That really means a lot. You're actually making me
I'm
emotional.
excited to see what you do.
No, okay. So
Man, this
in
podcast has been a
man,
whirlwind.
please leave now. You need to
Okay.
leave. No, okay. Segue into I have to learn how to play a song on the guitar. I have to. This
I can
has to
help you when
happen.
you're here.
I need your help because
Okay.
I think I just need some consistent daily practice.
Hmm.
But transitioning chords so hard? Why so hard?
It is. Just you got to just keep at it and practice. And I hated when people would tell me that when I was struggling with it. I still struggle with it, and I still need to keep at it and practice. Have you tried alternate tunings?
No, I remember you showing it to me and me
Yeah.
completely forgetting how that works, but knowing it
Okay.
was really cool.
Look up. I use DADGAD a lot,
Deadwood?
and it's DADGAD. So you tune each
That
string
good.
like it's
Oh, I was like,
DADGAD.
okay, that makes more sense now. Because I was like, is
And
this a
so you
website?
can literally, there's no rules. That's what made me better at guitar was when I realized I don't have to just play this set list of chords. I can make up chords. If it sounds good, then
Yeah,
I can play it.
yeah.
And
Because
once you start doing that, the thing that helped me get most get better at guitar was writing my own songs
Hmm.
because I learned the why of like, oh, why do you play it like this? Oh, why does the chord switch here? Oh, why? And
Oh,
it was also something that I was so passionate about that I just liked doing it. So it didn't feel like practice. It was just having fun.
I think you're like right on the money. But I just don't want to do it. But I want to do it.
Have you
And
tried songwriting?
I can lyric write without a problem, but when I try to think of notes, I have the melody in my head, but then I don't know how to transcribe that to notes because I never learned music theory.
What? Wait, no, 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 no. Sorry, you're approaching this all wrong. So you're
What am I
approaching
doing?
this from a music theory perspective. And this is how people try to do it. They're like, okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
write the lyrics. I'm gonna, I'm gonna get like all of my notes out on paper. And then I'm gonna have like the sheet music for it, or like at
Yep.
least a chord chart for it. No! You know how I write a song?
How?
I start with a chord and I'm like, what have I been sad about today? Or like, what have I been thinking about recently? And I just start like singing while I'm playing, and then if something sounds bad, I change it. But like then I will just stop every couple of minutes and write lyrics down. And then if I have trouble at one point, I'll like look at it on the paper and I'm like, okay, what words can I change? What? But it's different every time. It's just like doing both at once allows you to express yourself in a way that like trying to get it perfectly down on paper and mathematically to make sense would be so hard.
So wait, with the just strumming chord, do you have to know? I'm guessing you like have to know the chords, right? Like you can't just strum away. Like you have to learn like at least five chords and then see
Yeah,
what
like
are being
learn them
strummed.
and then play
Okay.
around with different combinations. And like with
That's
tunings, it's like I work my way up or I work my
yeah.
way down, or like I just play it and I'm like, oh, it sounds cool when I put my hand here. Let me try that. What emotion am I trying to convey?
Oh.
Ooh, I'll make it sound like kind of discordant, you know?
Okay. Okay. That actually makes more sense. To
Yeah.
liken it to something my brain, my little monkey brain would understand is kind of
Stop talking
like,
down to yourself.
sorry, it's kind of like what my thick brain would explain it as.
With two C's.
My Tutusi's
Say it with your chest.
thick brain. Like sometimes I think of an event and I visualize what I'm gonna wear, but then you try to go and find the clothes and you're like, I can't find the
Mm,
pants and I can't find
yeah.
the shirt. Whereas if you go to the store without any kind of visualization of what you're gonna wear to the event, you can
Yep.
play around a little bit more, get a little creative,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's the
Exactly.
stuff's there and it makes it easier. Dude, okay, that was actually really
Nice.
helpful. Thank you. Because
You're welcome.
I
I'm glad.
I spent one
I
day trying to find a note for like something I was singing in my head. Like, does this sound like a D? It's not a D.
it's I am speaking from limited experience because I have like I'm not good at guitar.
To me, you have like all the experience and you're like the most best guitar player ever. So,
Thank you.
just to let
I'm
you
gonna
know.
put that on my gravestone. Most best guitar player ever.
You're not. News to me.
Oh my gosh. I think I hang out with musicians that have like been playing for like 50 years and I'm just like uh.
No, because I was the other day, I was looking at songs that are easy to play. And I
hmm
realized all the artists that I like are actually phenomenal at guitar and know how to like pick the
Yep.
guitar in a particular way.
Yeah, you have really good music taste, so it's gonna be hard for you. I've started with like, do you have tabs?
I have
Guitar
I
tabs?
have
It's like an
guitar
app.
tuna.
Okay, well, tuna. So basically, sorry, I just didn't expect that word after guitar. But I,
Yeah, it's guitar tuna. Yeah,
oh,
a
okay.
musician.
Well, nice.
Thank you.
Um,
Sorry.
thanks. I usually do like the simplest version of the chords. Like when I was learning, especially, I don't you really play covers anymore, but I would just do. I want to get back into it, but it's hard to learn other people's songs. Like I think it's harder to do that than to write your own, and for my brain. But there's like this thing where you can simplify and then any like extrapolation of the chord, it just brings it back down to its original.
Oh, that's
So
really
like
cool,
just a
actually.
D or just a G.
Yeah.
Or you can just look at it and if it's like G suspended 7, you can just play a G and it won't
Okay.
sound exactly the same, but as
It'll
you
be
get
the
into it, it's like, oh, okay. Then you go super slow, take your
yeah,
time, don't expect it to sound like a
yeah,
recording. And then as you work your way up, when you're like, okay, I can switch between the chords, I'm confident. Now let me learn this new chord, G suspended 7, you know?
yeah. That's actually really helpful. I'm gonna do that because the other day I was struggling because I really want I really want to sound like the song. Like that's my
Yeah,
goal, that's my dream, and it
it's
comes out
so
trash.
hard. And another thing that was helpful for me was like, okay, I'm never gonna sound like that song because I don't have backing vocals, a second guitar track,
A whole
we think
orchestra.
drums, yeah, an orchestra.
With
I'm not that person. Like,
violins just sound so amazing in so many songs, and
I need to learn the violin. Talk about practicing.
I
I
need
have
to
not
I
practiced.
need to learn the violin. I think you're okay.
No, I need to learn the violin. I want to use it in my songs, and I need to know how to play it.
You need to learn the violin like I need to learn the cello. Somewhere along the lines. Oh, the next time you see me, so this is a transition. I'm gonna have bottom braces on our
Oh,
head.
yeah. Are you gonna have the top ones off?
No, the top ones
Oh,
stay
okay.
on. I will have a bigger wire going through the top.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something we never talked about in the last podcast. I have braces and I'm 23 years old, and that
And they're
really
so
has,
cute.
yeah, so cute. That's me and
I
my
think that
braces.
they're cute. I always wanted braces when I was a kid and I never got them, but I always was like, that's the cutest thing ever. Like, they're so cool. They're so stylish.
Gotten to a point where I don't care that people notice them anymore because people who know me pre braces and now have seen me in my braces era, they
Mm,
just won't comment. They'll just be talking to me and go look down at my braces and won't say anything.
that's awkward.
And it is a
Yeah.
little awkward. But I've learned it's okay and it's fine. It's given me a little bit of a carefree attitude, you know?
I guess that we should probably
Oh,
tell everyone to brace themselves for the next episode.
that was that was actually awful.
There,
But yes.
we need to put it like a disclaimer at the beginning of this that there's going to be a lot of bad jokes.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
All right, I'm done with it.
This podcast is over.